We did another campaign for BMW, Motor at the bikes. The idea was that road rash, you could play it as many times. You got 3 lives,
Three lives.
You do rash driving, hitting,
the
kick the police and so on. The fact is you can't do that in real life. And you got to drive safely. And we draw that parallel. We put up these billboards in Delhi.
Do you think if you were given a chance to work on some of the OG brands like Old Monk, what could be your reinventing one pitch?
College kid to a millionaire having the same drink.
Jaeger is such a cult drink today in India. So how did that marketing project start for you and the agency?
It's not just a drink actually. So that's what Jaeger is. It's probably like almost like a part of culture.
Gen Z culture, or as they call it, from the brand side, they are the most people that people want to attract. What a brand is still not doing when it comes to the Gen Z trends. From madman to mad real. That is how I would like to call today's podcast, Getting Drunk with Madira Vogue. Actually, I'm so excited because, there is so much to talk about with my guest today. He's the founder of a leading digital agency called SW Network. He has been in the industry for more than a decade. His agency completes today a decade, but the journey he has had is amazing. And the more I talk about it, everything is podcast worthy, but stay here because there's so much you can learn if you're a startup entrepreneur, if you're interested in advertising. Raghav is going to spill the tea and some tequila, or as we have wine today on the show here, and we're going to talk to him a lot about his journey too. So Raghav, thank you so much for taking out time.
My pleasure. I'm very excited to be here. And looking forward to the drinks and the conversation.
I'm intrigued, because everybody who comes into the advertising industry is considered a little mad,
Yeah.
So how did your madness begin, or how did it all start?
You have to be mad. Whenever I'm doing a post or so on, I do say, hey, the mad team at Social Wash, because it's just like that. But coming back to how we started, we actually started pretty much by accident. We didn't really want to start a marketing agency. My co-founder Pranav and I knew each other since ISEC and so on. We wanted to start something up. We actually thought of working with individuals, so do personal branding.
Oh, wow.
So back in the day, 2015, no one knew personal branding existed. Like, it was only with like celebrities. And we thought that everyone deserved personal brand. Whether you're a startup owner, you need it. Whether you're a aspiring student for future studies, you need it. But then it was very early. We were not getting enough traction and monies, and a brand says that, hey, interesting, can you do this for my company? And we were doing work for him.
Yes.
And we started doing it. Worked out well, and then we followed the money.
Wow.
so there's a lot of business that was coming in here.
That's
a lot of
good.
brands showed interest very early, and being like young people back then, 22-year-old, we understood internet and it was booming. It was the opportunity just came to us more than so on, and that's how it kind of began.
Interesting. You're very humble, I must say, Raghav. Because the list of brands that your agency works with, be it P&G, be it all the AlcoBev brands, which got me very interested, like Jaeger to AB InBev to Vicom 18 to Parasonic. I mean, the list is endless, and just doing it at such a young age. I mean, starting back in 2015, and it's just 10 years. It's you and your co-founder, like you said, were more inclined towards personal branding. So how did this whole brand thing then start from there?
As I said, I think it was more opportunities coming up. A brand said that, hey, can you shoot this for us? Like, sure. You're very young, you really don't have here set direction, and that led to one closure. More business came in and so on. And again, it was like a hot product. Not many agencies were doing social media. I mean, now there's a whole joke. There are, more. That's a question. Is there more agencies or more sweet shops? It's such a tricky one to kind of really crack. But back then it wasn't that. So we were one of the few social media first agencies and so on. And we were at the right time right moment. So right place, right time. So that is
good.
how it was. So
that's good. That's good. But you've quoted in a couple of your interviews that you feel you were an outsider when you started. So if you can throw some light about that, how did that feel? And being an outsider, did you feel there was an advantage that worked on you?
I still feel that. I think
really.
yeah. So it's when we're in rooms when we're pitching to a client, and there are other agencies. There are people who are in the industry longer than us. 15 years, 16 before the internet, and there. Advertising had a typical way of working that, hey, this is how TV works, this is what mainline is, this is what XYZ is. And we didn't know all of this. It was initially a disadvantage. We learned through our mistakes. We got, back in the day, we didn't know, say, what Google Analytics was. It was very basic. We'll expect an intern joining the company now to expect it. We didn't know as a founder. And we're like, hey, we got fired. We learned from there. And then we met people, learned, hey, this is what XYZ is happening. And then that was our learning curve. And we picked up what we liked. We didn't pick up what we didn't like. So we didn't really had to follow any rules, right? Like there was no box that we had to meet. And that till today is an advantage. Nice. We still believe like, okay, you know what? Hey, this is what we like from the industry. This is what we don't like. So we always believe that outsider perspective still helps us. We obviously now know how the industry works. We have folks who worked, decades in the industry who are working in the company, but we still choose to take what we like and don't like.
But being at the right place at the right time, like you said, and getting to learn and unlearn very quickly, I think that is a very good
100%.
Skill as an entrepreneur. 100%. And someone. The name of the agency is Socio Wash. I mean, I'm very curious. Sorry, I didn't plan this, but I'm very curious while talking to you. How did that happen?
So actually, was so as I said, we did personal branding. So the idea, one of the services we used to offer was that we'll take up your social and wash it and make it like really all good. So the idea was social and wash. Okay. Funny enough, a lot of people confused us with the dry cleaning startup because startups were starting by a dozen back then. We had to kind of clarify, but in our industry, there's agencies have different names. There's Langurs, there's chutneys, there's whatnot. So
we're chutney and I don't know how many.
So we're kind of part of the same group. So the wilder the name, the better it remembers. So I think one advice to folks is just go crazy with names. That's something which we're actually starting a new vertical very soon and yet to kind of reveal. So I'll keep it in the cards at my hands. But the name's really stupid. Like you'll hear it, you'll be like, what the hell is it? So that helps, right? Like because there's
a lot of curiosity.
So tomorrow some company comes to you, it's called Spaghetti Logic. You'll be like, oh, interesting. Heck yeah. That kind of thing helps. So I think that's something you got to use these small moments to kind of market yourself.
That's true. That's true. And like you recently have become a father and it's a great feeling, I'm sure, and a lot of learning, unlearning keeps happening even when you're not working with a kid back home. So is there something now which you think you take back to work being a father? And, is there a thin line that, you've learned recently?
I mean, there are similarities and there are differences. I mean, the similarity is that like a client, baby can, ask for you anytime, hey, wake up, hey, do whatever. So that kind of is there. But I think what it teaches you is, which takes a while for, say, founders to understand is work-life balance, how work is, very important and how life is. Often I think founders just give in too much and don't realize how it affects personal relationships and so on. I think that has been a big learning point that, hey, you know what, you got to make sure that you balance it out. And I often joke with my wife, I have two babies, one's my company and now a real one. So I think that's got to manage both, not like one, let one suffer for the other, for sure. So
that's such a sweet insight, I must say. And the word you use, clients are also babies. I completely agree with it.
They like babies. They'll want, hey, I want this. Like babies, right? Hey, they want milk right now. Clients want a brief right now, and you give it. Otherwise, it got escalates very quickly. So that is very, very common. And I was just joking about it with someone, but we're used to it, right? So as a person in client servicing, you don't panic.
Yeah.
So the same thing helps with the baby as well. So
Interesting. So far, it's been very interesting. And, coming to the whole agency ecosystem, some of the campaigns that I was reading about that the agency has done, and I've organically also seen them, way back then. I mean, such a pleasure to be interviewing you about the campaign. So, the Chetan Bhagat one, which was with Cleartrip. If you want to throw some light on that one, because that is something very unique, coming up with a book itself. And that idea, I mean, blows my mind out, and then convincing people in the boardroom for it. How did you manage to do that?
No, I must say the folks at Cleartrip are super fun people. We're still in touch with them for different briefs and etc. And that was the idea where what it stemmed from was that they had this thing called super coins, which was like you got extra discounts with that. So like it's so obvious. If you don't get it, like either you do this or you follow these genius hacks by Chetan. And Chetan was such a sport. He had to kind of make a joke out of himself. And the film was hilarious. It was like, hey, you can hear all these pseudo things that Chetan is going to tell you or read his book, a literal book. I don't think many campaigns or any campaign that I remember literally had a book, like a fake book actually printed and so on. It was wild, right? And it was either, hey, you hear all of this, or you just, use Supercoin. So that was like, I think a lot of credit goes to, I often say that I think more than agencies, it's brands who should get credit because they take the punt on it. Like agency's job is to give you wild ideas. Not many brands have the guts to pull it off or so on. So I think credit to them on that, credit to Chetan on that, and obviously the team. But it was a fun one. I think, did very well with the film and the book and so on as well.
So adding on to you recently mentioned right now sometime back that you are an ideas guy, and ideas is something any agency thrives on, So from ideas to execution, do you think early on, which was that one moment which got you like that recognition, the agency, that recognition, when you guys just started off?
I think when we started off, it were different moments. But I think for us, one of the first a couple of viral things I will actually talk about is that what differentiated us right in the beginning was that we had these hiring posts which were very creative. We were like, one of them was a Steve Jobs photo, and I was like, hey, we have jobs. Do you want them?
Wow.
And back in the day, no one was doing it. Like, this might feel very okay. We had like another one called Kaash Koi Mil Jaye, that song, and like had that on a social media creative. And those were very creative back then. Like if you remember what Swiggy did, Zomato did 10 years back, we did that. And I mean, brands came to us and said, hey, you're doing this hiring post for yourself. Can you do like social media management for us?
Wow.
So that hiring post, which cost nothing, got us like talent plus got us clients. So that was one of those very early sparks, essentially, because we were doing differently, right? And I think for us recently was, we did a couple of campaigns last year, which went like really big. So we did a billboard with Tide for Holi. We literally had like clothes, Holi clothes washed with Tide, put up on a billboard.
Of course,
and it went like so viral. And, Parul Gulati talked about it organically and so on. So many influencers just, talked about it. We're like, okay, hey, we should, try and push this a little bit or so on, but we didn't need to. It was just purely picked up. Similarly, we did another campaign for BMW, Motorrad, the bikes. The idea was that road rash, if you've ever played.
I love that game.
So
my childhood has gone in that game.
We all do. But you could, like, the funny thing with road rash was that, you could play it as many times. You got 3 lives, You do rash driving, the police
and then you kicking
the police and so on. The fact is you can't do that in real life. And you got to drive safely. And we draw that parallel. We put up these billboards in Delhi, a few of them. And again, it got picked up so much. So again, just the right kind of idea, right placement gets talked about. Those were a few initial viral ones. And then fortunately, we've had a few over the last year, which is kind of, been loved by the internet.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a lot of interesting insights. I think I'm going to keep eating your head about all the interesting campaigns being from the social media myself, Raghav. There's so much to explore and talk because you actually are, rewinding so much of my own memories as a agency person back in the day when I used to work for agencies, how much of learning and unlearning we also used to have, working on campaigns campaigns.
That often happens actually. So many folks move to brand side, but the agency side of never goes, right? Because it's just like wild and crazy and a lot more fun, right? Because you're working on from one brief to the other. So I can totally
but a lot of agency people also want to get on the brand side. It's like their mecca.
Once they're done with the hustle, ki ho gaya. But it both has their pros and cons, right? So so that's definitely there.
But you run different verticals, and something which really got my attention is that you are also running the people's and the whole HR vertical in all the agency as well as the other startups that you guys have. So you said that for you, culture is priority O. And I understand when you are a smaller unit, culture and synchronicity is important. But how do you manage it when you are growing an agency? And how have you managed it so far?
I would say we try. There is no. I think if anyone says, "Hey, our culture is great and there's no flaws," I think that's never true. We're always trying. I think one thing for us is we've defined our values very clearly. So we get the right folks in. So back in the day, it was very much easy. It was very easy for us to control. Say till you're 100 people, the founder can control the culture. But when you grow from 100 to say 1,000, we're about 350 people now. It's not just you who owns the culture. It's your leadership, it's your middle management and senior management. And if those folks are the right people, they have the same values as you, things will happen. And I think that's been right for us. We have some fab people who've been with us for 5 years, 3 years, 7 years. And that's a lot for a 10-year company, right? And we share the same values. I think you'll find all of them very humble, very hardworking, determined, very ambitious, a little bit mad. And when you have that as a core, you'll see those right people attracting the right folks. I think that becomes important. And the other thing I think for us has always been is we're always fairly transparent. That helps, right? Like if we might make a miss, there might be something wrong that would have happened, but we know that if they reach out to me, we try to make it very easy. We don't have cabins or anything like that. We'll solve it, or we'll give our best attempt to solve it. I think that's the most important. So it's an attempt to keep our culture, as is. We call it the socio culture and so on. Back in the day, in fact, since we're at Madira Vogue, we were pretty much known for Fridays, which were liquor Fridays. We called it socio Fridays, which was all about Madira. But then that's what you have to evolve the culture. When you're small or growing, it's fine for people to come in for the fun. But now the idea is that I think more people are joining us for the kind of work they can do. So that evolution of culture is happening. But the fundamentals kind of remain the same. But so that's been the journey for us.
I think a lot of credit goes to the founding members and you being one of them, know, and I think it's all about, driving that with an example, I guess,
We try. That's all we can do.
And, one thing which I read again was that you guys always promote people internally. You do not hire for leadership from outside. So how do you, spot the right talent initially and groom that person,
I mean, it's like, it doesn't take a lot to find like a diamond, right? Like when it's there, it sparkles, right? I think that's what happens. I won't say we don't hire out from outside. We do very, very few cases, but we've preferred to have our own leaders, our team members grow. I think I would say probably 80% of our leaders have been people who've grown into a position and so on. And I think why we do this is because they understand the culture, they understand who we are, and it's the right kind of thing we believe to do because it gives an opportunity for everyone. We believe that we grew from, like not knowing nothing to now running a decent sized firm. That can be the same for our team as well. So that's always worked out for us. And I mean, you just need, that one person who kind of takes that ownership, who, has that. It could be an account manager or so on. If they have that spirit that, okay, it's my work, I love it, and they're doing, great at the job, they'll keep growing at the company. As I said, I think it doesn't take a lot for someone to get noticed. If you're, it's that reality, like your work will shine. And I think for us that credit culture is very clear. We're not at that agency where only like the top bosses get the credit. We're absolutely, if there's, I think the junior most probably gets recognized that, hey, who did this, and they should absolutely get a shout out.
Nice.
More than the leaders. The leaders get a lot anyway. So the junior person
That's
absolutely
really
deserves
sweet.
that.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
And I must say, very encouraging for someone who wants to join a growing startup like yours, And you also have Youthbeat, which is like an influencer marketing agency in its own, So how did that happen? Was that like a very good extension to being a social media agency?
Yeah. Firstly, it's a perfect extension, right? Because social media is so much about influencers and so on. So that whole vertical for us manages different kind of influencers. It also does campus marketing, where probably one of the few people in the country who are doing campus marketing like no other. So we work with brands like OnePlus, Tinder, Myntra, Banning, and run their campus programs completely. Which in a very different way. I think we pretty much have no competition, to be honest, there.
Nice.
And then we do guerrilla things there, guerrilla marketing. So you imagine it, and we've done it. Like we've done a billboard that's sort of flying in the air. We've done a scented billboard.
Wow.
We've done wild things. So how it works is we think of ideas and then we figure how to crack it later. So how to make it happen later. So that is what the vertical does. Very interesting 3 different set of activities, and pretty much came as an extension. So Social Wash, as part of the network, cracks ideas and campaigns, and Youthbeat executes them for campus creator and the guerrilla marketing vertical.
Nice. Interesting. And because you're running it for a brand, I'm sure a lot of budding influencers in the campus must be very attracted to being part of Youthbeat right
Absolutely. And there's so much talent. You can see college students with like a massive following. Even if not the following yet, we can see that they will grow and just like boom in the next phases. So the next big creators that are kind of happening, and you're working with them at that stage and giving them exposure to brands.
That's very interesting, very encouraging. So all people who are there and trying to do something in their campus, who's the man to follow.
We should absolutely happy to make you get some opportunities going.
So Gen Z culture, or as they call it, is exploding from the brand side. They are the most people that people want to attract, the most difficult audience, I would say, today to crack, because there are extremes. But what is your take on it? What do you think today a Gen Z is, and what a brand is still not doing when it comes to the Gen Z trends?
I think brands are trying too hard. I think that's the biggest whole piece.
It's like Tinder saying you're trying too hard.
Pretty much. Like it's like you're trying to woo, right? So you do those extra things, which I mean, no woman likes that extra effort, right? You have to keep it chill. You have to keep it authentic, and that authentic is the right word. Brands are missing that. Like they don't want very high produced things. They don't want you to call it like drip and rizz and cool or whatever it is. Keep it natural, keep it like, I think, and that authenticity is one. And second, really be part of the subculture. That is the biggest thing. Brands don't understand. Unfortunately, what happens is brand managers also wouldn't understand. They will come from a perception of this is what Gen Z wants. So all the ideas kind of get approved like that. But I mean, we have lots of folks who are Gen Z in our office. They know what they want, but often if it gets selected by a brand manager who thinks what Gen Z wants to understand, there'll always be a gap. So I think being more open to the subculture understanding, it'll blow up. And I mean, things like we're discussing, Labubu. I mean, you have no idea how that grows.
I'm waiting to eat first.
Yes, there was a science on what they did and how it grew, but really, like there is it just grows, or matcha these days, or so on and so forth. Most
coffee
of these trends,
raves. I mean, I've been invited to so many coffee raves.
Let alone coffee raves. The other day, I was hearing a thela rave. Like there was there was a
this is new.
A brand did it. I can't remember which one. They had like a fruit thela, and they had like a rave happening at that. Like just the wilder, crazier, unabashed you can do. That's Gen Z, right? Like you gotta go like, hey, like just very natural. I think that is the big. So authenticity and really understanding subculture. If a brand wants to understand what to do with Gen Z, spend time on Reddit. I think Reddit is gold for insights. We spend so many of our ideas come from reading like a Reddit insight and then making a campaign out of it. I think that's a great way to understand what Gen Z want. Not to search Chat GPT on, hey, what do Gen Z want? That's not. Although
ChatGPT doesn't know what they want.
Chat GPT also finds a lot of data from Reddit.
Oh, wow.
So that does help. But yeah, there will be a difference for sure.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Raghav, you're giving gold out here,
Yeah,
you know. But jokes apart, I definitely feel that you nailed it right. Authenticity for any creator is the most pivotal thing. And when working with brands, I've worked with brands as a creator too, and they tend to miss out that I know my audience the most, you know. So that is a fine line that I wish, you know, there was
100%. Yeah.
I mean, I really want to know little more about some of your campaigns that you think today you can really talk about from a Gen Z perspective, which is like, you know, maybe it could be for Tinder or for Myntra, you know, something which you think has really been standing out, you know.
So there will be a few that we've kind of cracked. So with Forward, we're doing a bunch of things. So Myntra Forward is Myntra's sort of vertical for Gen Z. It's a super young vertical, etc. And we run a very cool campus program with great content creators there, etc. And we're doing actually like right now sort of different activations in college, which is just like super fun. You got there's like a fridge, you want to call it, in each of these colleges that only opens up when people scan a certain thing, and there's just like wild things happening with what's going to happen in that college situation. So that's a super fun thing that's kind of happening. We did recently Tinder U launch. Tinder U was Tinder U is basically Tinder University, where you can match with people in the same sort of college. So it's a very cool this thing, and we did like a very, very cool kind of interesting things near the colleges as well. So that's kind of been like super fun to crack.
That's
interesting.
So, very interesting. And Tinder, I happened to be on this brand summit, ET brand summit recently, and one of the Tinder person was there from the Asia Pacific head. He was talking about how Tinder has actually organically tried to be a very serious dating app. But like for every time he was putting out Tinder, he was talking about being a very serious dating app, and going on the whole trajectory of building relationships to unlike the the current different thing that they carry as a brand persona. But interesting enough that they are still betting big on cultivating those relationships in colleges.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? You can find people for anything on Tinder. Hey, you want to find someone who you can exchange notes with. Sure, Tinder can help you. And like whatever, a serious relationship, sure, that's the idea. I think they call it like start something epic, which is like, anything can happen on Tinder. That's the kind of thing. So it's very interesting how they kind of crack that as well.
And again, you are enabling one of them. Very interesting.
That's true.
Very interesting, Raghav. And I must say, each campaign is very inspiring. Interestingly, I mean, I want to go back and read more about them, definitely. So Raghav, now coming to some of little more fun questions. I mean, I've done enough of your grilling on your agency, and I really think the person driving the agency is really the person I want to get to know a little more on this podcast today.
Absolutely.
So I read that you are very inspired by some of the interesting people like Steve Jobs to Cristiano Ronaldo. So what if you had to take one of this person out on a dinner evening out? What would you like to do, and what would be your evening setting like with them?
Wow. Okay. No, I think I would probably have to say Ronaldo, although it's a hard choice. But I think like I've been inspired by Ronaldo like massively with fitness, motivation, and so on. And it'll be a great one to go play football for a bit with him. And I think the question I'd like to ask him would be, how does he do it? The determination to kind of continue at this age and be at the top. And I unfortunately haven't had the chance to watch him live. I'm hoping next year with the World Cup. No, it's in US and Canada. Hoping that I do. But just how do you keep up at it? Like now being 32, I can feel the energy going down, and to kind of be at like 39, 40 and to kind of continue at it takes like another
Yeah.
person altogether. So
Yeah.
mad respect to him.
So it's like you're really looking up to him for the energy.
The energy, fitness,
Yeah.
how he continues that that desire
Mm.
year on year.
Mm.
It's damn difficult.
Yeah, and he's a
So
proud father of so many
yes,
kids,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
giving that
yeah.
time to the family as well.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, wow, mad choice.
Yeah.
And which would be your favorite pick of place to take him?
As I said, I think best to go out play football. That's the
You bet, you bet.
leave dinner we'll figure. but yeah, it'll be something else, I think.
You're from Delhi and you are based out of Delhi, and Delhi has Gurgaon,
Yes. Yeah.
Raghav, I'm very inquisitive to know how is the drinking culture in Delhi, and
Wow.
is it different than Bombay?
It is massive. Delhi drinking culture is basically, I would say, double of Bombay. It's because,
Double
okay,
capacity.
double capacity. It's just that we have the alcohol, it's cheaper. A lot of Punjabi background in Delhi automatically means there's more liquor. It's more wilder that happens. Bangalore, I would say, is a little bit more poised with its drinking. Delhi is kind of a little bit mad. Things go a little bit out of hand in Delhi a little bit quicker. So that's there. The other thing very interesting I've noticed is that Bombay is full even on weekdays. I didn't know you need booking reservations on Tuesday evenings, which is surprising. In Delhi, you just walk in on a Tuesday, you don't need it. That's a big difference. I think people like going out here every day. Bombay, Delhi, it's big, but it's probably weekends.
Yeah.
So that's a big one for sure.
Delhi has more space, I think.
Delhi has more space, way more space. So that is true. Yeah. But again, that's where you'll also hear, and I think that's an opportunity. Bombay has so much more experiential places. Each place I go, or maybe my friends here are better, but they take you to places which are very unique.
Yeah.
There are different experiences, there are different cocktails. It's a cozy room here and there. Delhi pretty much is a similar vibe. It's Punjabi music, good food, lots of alcohol, and so on. It's very standardized. I think there's a big opportunity in Delhi to try different experiences in terms of places. I mean, a friend of mine really started this very cute cocktail bar, very, very small.
Where?
In Delhi.
Okay.
Near Mehrauli. Very, very cool and very, very, very boutique in that sense, which is a very different experience. I think we need more of those
Speakeasy, very
different
cozy places. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah. So that's the big opportunity there.
That's true. And I think I'm glad that you brought this up, that speakeasy culture in Bombay, is also there. And I'm happy that in Delhi and in other places now it's booming in our country as well. And I think more intimate settings with great cocktails ends up having good conversations.
Absolutely.
And that is what Madira Vogue is about too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Interestingly, so I was in Barcelona a couple of years back. It has the best bar in the world. It's called Paradiso.
Yeah, Paradiso. Of
we
course.
went there. I mean, being the cocktail person we literally had everything off the menu. And that is a beautiful speakeasy. And the secret is that if you have everything, they take you to a secret bar inside. Which was pretty cool. So that's something which we and we go to a secret bar inside. And what did we do? Being Delhiites, played AP Law inside a secret bar.
How did you convince those people?
Because we had the secret bar to ourselves.
Okay.
We're like 6 folks. Very, very, not just us. There was someone who was from UAE. There was someone from UK, but we were sort of majority. So like, hey, you're like, do you want to play your own music? We're like, sure. And we had AP Law being played in the best bar in the entire world. Wow. So that was like a story. But it's a beautiful speakeasy, and I think those experiences we need more in India and Delhi, Bombay. There's a lot of opportunity.
That's true. So you're a cocktail person. I heard the word cocktail at least 10 times in the last answer. So which are your 2 or 3 go-to cocktails? Anytime you can just sit.
I'm pretty much, hey, I haven't tried this. Let's go for it.
Oh, you're always experimenting. That's a new kind.
I think if you, when I want to go safe, I'll probably have my gin and tonic, wines and so on. Cocktails about like, hey, this kind of sounds, interesting. And you don't want to go safe there. I think that's something which, it's like trying different cuisines, right? So I really don't like to, if I have to go maybe a safe one, I'll probably go with something which is more gin based.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the idea with cocktails is to, hey, this sounds unique, and try it out, and that really gets you to really work it out, right? It's like it's art. So yeah, so I think we should definitely.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So, because you've spoken about cocktails, you've spoken about the drinking culture in Delhi, how much role that played your understanding about alcohol when you started bringing in so many different AlcoBev brands into the company? You know, like I can go on. There's AB InBev, there's Jägermeister, there's so many different AlcoBev brands that you guys. Barcode also. Brocode, sorry. So how did that happen? Was there a reason Delhi was an advantage?
No, I mean, things happened. I mean, alcohol attracted, catched us on. So there wasn't really a pitch to reach a certain kind of brands. But obviously, we have it related with us, right? A lot of young people in our office kind of related with them, so we're able to understand them better. I think that's always been something that's worked out for us, and I think any brand that we're natural consumers of, you can do better marketing. That's right. True. So it doesn't mean that you can't do marketing for brands you don't understand. I mean, we have brands which probably something we have to read a lot about, but those take extra effort. But the ones you naturally are a customer for, you'll do like a fab job. So that's kind of what has worked out for us. And I mean, yeah, so you look at the product you consume and like, oh, this is a great thing I can do.
A lot of good insights come out.
A lot of great insights and come out of it. So that's true. That's perhaps worked out for us.
And I think India is on a different growth trajectory now when it comes to the AlcoBev space. Yeah. You spoke so much about cocktails. There are gin culture which exploded during the lockdown. Yeah. I mean, everybody was making their own cocktail at home, and this is interesting. But do you think if you were given a chance to work on some of the OG brands like Old Monk or something like that, what could be your reinventing one pitch to
100% will be Old Monk. I think it's so iconic because I think a couple of things, right? One, if there is one liquor which symbolizes India, which people want to show, has to be Old Monk, right? And the other thing is like doesn't matter how much money you have. I've seen people who are fairly rich going for Old Monk and Coke in winters. They can afford whatever you want, right? Not a problem. Glen, whatever it is, but they prefer an Old Monk and Coke. And that whole thing of, hey, you know what? It's not about the money. It's about Old Monk. That is beautiful. So Old Monk has so much that can happen with it. And yeah, so a college kid to a millionaire having the same drink is just iconic. So
and that's a very interesting pitch line, I think, from a college kid to a millionaire. I think that should be there.
It's absolutely.
The new tagline, I guess.
Perhaps, reach out to us. We're happy to.
They should. And very interestingly, I mean, Jaeger is such a cult drink today in India. It's actually one of the only German drinks that I know of has become the most popular drink across the globe after the beers. You know? So how did that marketing project start for you and the agency? And what
actually is a project we're doing currently, and I mean, reached out to us. Like, I mean, most brands, they find us by some of the work we've done and so on. And we're actually working on a very cool project right now with them. But yeah, I mean, Jaeger is such a cool brand, right? Like it's on a league of its own. There is literally nothing like Jaeger. It's a drink that it's a brand that is its own drink. So it's
so popular with the youth. I mean, I'm yet to go to a youth party where there's no Jaeger, you know, and now there's Jaeger Black, and there are so many different variants that they have come up with. So very interesting.
But the OG stays. I think I have at least like 2-3 different kinds of Jaegers at home, but I think the OG stays. And it's often like when you bring out Jaegers in a party, it's like leveled up. So that's pretty much, it's become a part of culture, right? Like you've got to have Jaeger bombs and so on. And that's now become a part of culture more than a drinking phenomena. It's like, hey, you want to do that as part of your party situation. So I think it's not just a drink actually. So that's what Jaeger is. It's probably like almost like a part of culture. So that I think that's why they've cracked it very well. So it's not about the taste. It's not about the high. It's just a part of that party culture. Hey, let's go. We're done with our drinks. Let's take it up and have, Jaeger. So that's how they're able to fit that very well.
That's true. Recently, again, at the same brand summit, I happened to, meet Vineet Sharma, the AB InBev head, and, he spoke a lot in length. In fact, his panel discussion was about the IPs, and, he was talking about how Lola has played a very pivotal role for Budweiser in Bombay and, the whole event. So do you think ABN is also one of your clients, and, do you think the whole youth culture and IP marketing is a very pivotal thing today for them? What's your take?
Alcohol brands can't really rely on ads as much. So IPs and offline IP especially becomes essential, right? And again, it's an opportunity to make the brand part of culture. What Bacardi did with Weekender, what Lola's doing with, what AB InBev has been doing with Lola, or so many of these brands that have kind of really owned IPs, right? And that eventually gives you a lot of merit over the period. And again, you become part of that whole culture as well. I think it's just an opportunity to be part of it. I mean, Simba's doing some fab things with not really IPs, you would say, but like with these singles and music and so on. And it's just like part of culture. You got to make your brand part of a culture, and it kind of happens, right? That's the idea or attempt with it. Any activity that resonates with the experience you want for your drink is how you kind of go about it. And IPs is one of the strongest things you can do actually if you're in the alcohol space. Essentially.
That's true. And even the Gin Explorer Club, which actually is something which came from Delhi, started in Delhi, and it's such a beautiful,
it's a huge craze around it. Those weekends are like, hey, we're going to, are you going? It's a, and again, because gin is at its peak perhaps, right? So it's a great opportunity to could have explored that.
And lastly, because you work with so many influencers, obviously they should be the drinking, the eligible drinking age. Nobody's trying to promote alcoholism, but having a community of youth influencers talking about responsible drinking, do you think that's a space any brand should today own?
The thing is, it's quite done. That is the challenge, but it's about how you do it. I mean, it's still a problem. People are still doing it. So it is still a problem. It's something you can never talk enough about, but it's just about how you do it, because there's so much that's done. So either you would be perhaps redoing it or so on, but there's a lot of conversation that can be had with liquor, positive and awareness led. But I would say if you have to, then sure, but do it differently. Find new ways and so on. Perhaps, we love to explore. But yes, there's a lot more conversation that can happen, and you can be a lot more relevant with that as well. So for sure,
that's true. Lastly, Raghav, because AI is such a big thing today. Everybody is talking about.
It can't end without AI, obviously.
It can't end.
No meeting, no podcast. It is pretty much.
No, I'm sure no award entry also these days ends without.
It's a whole thing. There's a cut that went viral. I don't know if you've seen Sundar Pichai's, where someone just picked up the amount of times he said AI in his. It's funny. It's just everyone wants to say AI.
And from everyone, like you said, Sundar, Sam Altman, going all out and saying controversial things that he doesn't want to use certain AIs because he doesn't know how the data is being used. I mean, I'm zapped every day when I read about AI. But as an agency founder, what is that one thing today brands are really, looking up to an agency like Sociowash to, bring in from an AI's perspective? And maybe following it up with another last question is, what is some interesting work that you recently have done in AI?
I mean, most brands knowledge is very primitive still. Simple open question right now that comes to us is, hey, what is happening with AI? Is it real? And what are you doing? What can we do? There's just so much openness, and there's a lot that can happen. We are creating a lot of video. I mean, we did a lot of static imagery with AI. So a lot of our, images that went on social, we didn't need to do like static shoots. We were doing it with AI and so on and so forth. So it was very quick, affordable and so on. We're doing a lot of cool product shoots with AI-led editing as well. Now we're massively exploring video. We've had performance ads, which are 6-seconders, bumpers, all done with AI. Saves you costs. You can do A/B testing. It's very costly to shoot 20 films, right? Like it'll, X cost into 20 is very expensive. I could do like very, very, so it's easy to A/B test. Essentially, what's also very interesting, and we're discussing with the brand, is you could prototype something with AI. So I make an AI film, run it. If it works well, then I can actually go shoot it. You can even try those things. So a lot is happening with AI, and for multiple brands, we've explored with video, static, voiceovers, characters with AI, and so on and so forth. It is fun if you can explore.
It's like a whole playground out there.
It is. I'm personally always been very excited with AI. And again, the first time it kind of boomed sometime last year, I know for about a couple of weeks, I was like, done. I was on playing with ChatGPT, Runway, Midjourney, like, oh my God, all of this is possible. So you have to be geeky right now. And there's a lot of opportunities only if you kind of like really spend time and have fun with it.
So good. Thank you so much. These are very interesting insights.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to let you lose yet. There's one last rapid fire round. Raghav, you've been acing the whole questions, and I'm so glad to have been interviewing you today here at Madira Vogue. And like I said, there is always a trend in Madira Vogue. We always ask our guests rapid fire questions. Don't think much. You're the ad guy. You're always used to thinking on your feet, so I don't expect you to think much. And I'll go one by one without stopping. You just whatever comes to your mind, you can.
I'll try and be as fast as I can. Then.
Okay, I'm not going to be very fast though. You can keep sipping your wine also on. Okay, so starting with pitching to a client in a brainstorming war room, shooting a quirky ad, or just being yourself without pitching or doing anything. What is your happy place?
I would say, I would probably say brainstorming. I think it's a different feeling when you cracked an idea. Like you have, like when that feeling comes, oh, aa gaya. That feeling is, I think, everything. Like creative people will relate to it.
Yeah.
Now, whatever happens with the idea doesn't matter. That feeling is like, oh, I've cracked it, is genius. I think it's one of those adrenaline rushes for sure.
Yeah, I can completely relate to. Coffee, tea, or Madira? What is your favorite?
Wow. I'd probably say coffee before pitches and Madira maybe after. So perhaps.
Nice. Interesting. Early morning meetings or late night strategy jams?
Late night for sure. Yeah, it takes a while to get the brain going as a creative. We hate doing brainstormings right in the beginning because it takes a while for the brain to start functioning. But nights, but like aajkal reasonable nights. You don't want to, there's a baby at home. I don't want to work at 12 in the night.
I can imagine. Travel myths you once believed. Any travel myths that you once believed?
That flights are cheaper on Tuesdays. We actually learned on Cleartrip. We were doing these random things. It doesn't work. It's not true. Flights are not cheaper on Tuesdays. There is no definite deadline on when they're cheap. It's a bit of a scam.
Okay. Most random superstition or quirky habit that you still follow?
Wow. We don't write the name of the client in like our sheet until it closes. So we say, hey, we know what's going to happen, but we don't write it because we've had some. So we just, once it's happened, once the contract's signed, then we'll kind of write it on our company dashboards and so on.
That's interesting. So, what is the marketing myth that you would love to burst once and for all? Ab to bas ho gaya.
That young people don't have attention span. I think they do, as long as the content is fun or relevant. I think that's a big one. People think like, hey, distract ho jate hain. Yeah, if it's not good, then sure, right? So that's a big, I think, learning. You gotta be smart at it. But if you have good things to say, they will watch you.
Interesting. Finally, if you had 5 words or less, what is that one goal for SW that you would like to define in 5 words today?
Take India to the world. I think that's something we've been believing in. I think it'd be a beautiful one where we go and, acquire a few international agencies and really become a global company. That's the simple vision.
That's so beautiful. I wish you all the best for that dream. I hope it comes true soon.
Thank you.
Wow, Raghav, you aced your rapid fire and I can't let you go without a hamper.
Oh my God, thank you. appreciate this. It feels like a coffee with Karan situation.
Not as massive hamper,
Yeah.
but I really appreciate all the
No,
time and
thank you.
effort you have taken out today to be at this podcast and enlighten us with such
Yeah.
interesting insights about running a very successful agency.
My pleasure.